Hi everyone, this is Pearl and this is my first process video in a very long time, so please be patient with me as we go through this. Today I thought we would do a how-to on how to make these holiday gift cards. I know for us, we give gift cards to all the educators and teachers, and I'd like to give them something a little more personalized. If you're interested in seeing how to make these gift card holders, then please keep on watching. I'm starting off with a 110-pound cardstock. I decided to use red, green, and pink just for something a little different. And I have this new paper trimmer, which is from Tim Holtz. It's the new 12.5 rotary trimmer, and I love it. I typically use the Caterpillar Pro, but I decided to purchase this one because it wasn't cutting as straight as I like, and I like to have that finger guard there. I'm cutting the 110-pound cardstock into 4x10. I like to mass produce these cards because making one card is just a little less time than mass producing. So I like to mass produce, and then I like to share with my friends. Just a bit earlier, you saw me flip through some 12x12s. They're very old Felicity Jane cardstock that I still had left from a Christmas edition. So I'm going to use some of those as my cardstock to embellish the gift card holders. Any products I mention in this video, I will go ahead and link down below in case you're interested in purchasing the items. Now moving forward, after I cut all of the 110-pound cardstock, I have a scoreboard here. This is an old one I've had for probably decades by Martha Stewart, but you can find them anywhere. And I have a special Teflon bone folder, which I absolutely love. If I use the one that came with this scoreboard, it would cut the paper. When I'm mass producing, I like to do all of the same function at the same time. This saves time in the long run instead of doing one at a time. Now you'll see here that I am trying one of the cards because I want to make sure I get it right. Sometimes I do get confused and I might have the incorrect measurements. So you can see here, I'm sorry, I'm off the screen a little bit. Now fold the card at the 5.75 inch crease. This is where you're going to put the gift card. Now you want to open it back up and then put a 1/4 inch double-sided adhesive. This is the tearaway kind. And make sure you don't put adhesive where the crease is, where the gift card will go in. So you see here I'm using the bone folder to make sure that the adhesive sticks on correctly. I'm using just a little pick tool, I'm not sure what that's called, to get the adhesive off. Now I'm folding it in half. I'm using a 2-inch paper punch to create the divot of where the gift card will go in. Now on the side that I just placed the divot, or cut the divot I should say, I am just trimming off a little bit off the edge there so that the gift card will fit in nicely. Now I'm taking the bone folder and folding them all just to make sure that the gift card and the card is done correctly. And I will mass produce these. Now I figured it was easiest if I put these little sticky tabs exactly where I needed to use my bone folder to make a crease in the base of the cardstocks, because I kept looking at my little notes to see for exact measurements. Now that I've creased all of them, now I'm going to start adhering all of them. And again, this is where I use the 1/4 inch double-sided adhesive. I mentioned before I like to do the same task over and over again before moving on to the next step. I'm using the 1/4 inch double-sided adhesive, and I will put the adhesive on each of the cardstocks. Then I will pick the adhesive off one by one. For me, it's faster this way. It reminds me of when I used to work in a plant nursery. So here I'm taking the pick tool and I'm taking all the adhesive off, and then I'm going to adhere them all together. Then I'm taking my circle punch and I'm going to punch out a little divot for where the recipient's fingers can go to grab the gift card quickly and easily. You'll note that I'm doing all of the paper punching at once. Like I said, mass producing, it's the best way to go. The next step after this is to trim off the edge so that the gift card can fit in nicely. Here I use my 6-inch Tim Holtz paper trimmer, and I'm just cutting off just a sliver at the edge of the paper. Now I'm going into my Felicity Jane Christmas paper from years and years ago. This is extra paper that I did not use on my December daily or my scrapbook layouts, so I decided this would be a great way to use it. Now you can use any cardstock you have at home. This does not need to be for the holidays. You can make these for birthday gifts and whatnot. Since I'm mass producing these cards, I cut the pattern paper at 3.75 inches. Now make sure that the direction of the pattern paper is cut correctly. The pattern paper is going to go on the outside of the card. You can see there it's on the front and then the flap and also on the back. You can see here I'm trying to decide how to design this card. That's my daughter's hand. She wanted to say hi. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to design this card. So I decide to use the pattern paper on the outside. I decide that I am going to have the top flap of the gift card envelope have a rounded corner. So I'm using my We Are Memory Keepers corner rounder, and I'm using the 1/2 inch one. I know they come in a bunch of different sizes, but that's the one I decide to use. So I use that for also the 0.75 by 3.75 so that when I adhere it to the top of the flap, it will also have the rounded corner. Here I have run out of adhesive and I'm showing you that I'm using my 3M Scotch adhesive. I put that into my Sweet Petunia glue. I don't know what you call it, a gun? Not sure. So I did use that, and that is the best gift I've ever received. Thank you, Fran. So now I'm adhering the back portion. That is the 2.25 by 3.75, and I'm going to have that on the back of the flap. I'm going through the different kinds of pattern paper that I have, trying to decide what color I'm going to use for which pattern paper. And it does take a little while for me to decide. So I decided to make 3 different styles. I'm trying to decide if I want to use the green and red plaid on the red cardstock base or the green cardstock base. I end up using it on the green cardstock base, and then I'm using the red plaid on the red cardstock base. I'm going to adhere all of this using my Sweet Petunia glue press. I think that's what it's called. Now, for the pattern paper, it worked out all right, but you'll see that you can learn from my mistakes. It's time to work on the inside of the gift card holders. I am taking white cardstock and I cut it down to 3.75 inches lengthwise since I'm mass producing. Then I'm cutting a bunch into 2-inch and then a bunch into 2.75 inches. You'll see here that I'm trying to decide what I'm going to use as a greeting. Who remembers Allie Edwards when she was working with Technique Tuesday? Since not everyone celebrates Christmas, the greeting I chose to use is Season's Greetings and Blessings for Peace. I think that is applicable to every human being. Now, I have this powder tool. This is actually for makeup. And what I did was I put baby powder in there to use as a static resist. And then I put that powder on the cardstock, the larger of the cardstock, and I'm using Versamark to stamp the greeting onto the cardstock. Now you're going to see here that I am trying to decide which color embossing powder I'll use. I'm embossing the greeting onto the 2.25 by 3.75 white cardstock. I'm using the heat gun to heat emboss this, and I'm trying it in black, red, and green. The black embossing powder for all of the gift card holders. Now that heat gun there, I think I've had that for 30 years. Seriously. I started making cards back in 1994. I used to work the night shift, and to have a pretty regular schedule, I used to make cards in the middle of the night. Crazy, right? So you'll see here that I'm doing all of these different colors, then trying to figure out which one I'm going to use. Since I'm mass producing, I will emboss all of these cards at once. Here's a look at all of the cards once I have used the different colors. And now I'm looking at all the different cardstock bases that I've had and trying to figure out which ones I'm going to use. And like I said before, I do end up using the black embossed card on all of the cards just to make it easy for myself. Now for the inside bottom portion of the gift card holder, it's the 2 by 3.75 white cardstock. I wanted to add another sentiment there, yet leave a little bit of room for the sender to also write a little message. So this just says Happy Holidays. I'm trying to figure out why it's stamping funky, so I'm using my stamp chamois and my white eraser and just doing it multiple times. I end up just using the stamp anyway. Now this is where I made a mistake. I am using my Sweet Petunia glue press on the embossed portion. And you guys, when I heated the embossing powder on there, it warped the paper. So at the end, it's like wonky. Next time, I will go ahead and use adhesive tape. But what I ended up trying to do to even it out was to use the heat gun to try to flatten out the paper. After all that, I decided I wanted to add a little something extra to the white cardstock on the top, and I'm just using the Christmas tree that was in the Ali Edwards stamp set, and also one from Felicity Jane. For the Christmas trees, I decided to use the Memento ink in bamboo leaves and cottage ivy. I just wanted them to be a little bit different. Next, I'm going to work on the outside of the gift card holder. I'm using the stamp set from Ali Edwards, December Daily 2025. The stamp set is called Oh What Fun. I'm using the VersaFine Black Onyx ink and just stamping Oh What Fun onto white cardstock. And then I am using a 1.25 circle punch to punch out that sentiment. Then I'm going to use red, green, and pink metallic paper, 1.5 circle punch to punch those out. You'll see that I adhered the sentiment onto the metallic paper. My apologies for not getting this part on tape, but I used micro mini magnets, and I used the Tombow Mono multi-adhesive, and I adhered it to the top of the gift card holder. And I did that because the top flap wasn't laying correctly and I did not want to use a belly band. Honestly, don't remember where I got those micro mini magnets from. They were just in my stash. I also used Velcro to close the flap, but I prefer the magnets. Thank you so much for being patient with me as I did my first process video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.